Hello.
Hello, everyone.
I'm ready. We are recording. Welcome back.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of
We're Just Haters,
the Theater Podcast. And now we are back on the West End.
I know, we can't stop.
And we are at My Master Builder.
Yep. Disclaimer. We saw it on the first preview.
Yeah.
I think that's worth saying.
Yes.
In all fairness. We're going to release this episode a bit later, but...
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, we saw the very first performance, public performance, so...
Yeah.
That it makes a difference, but also anyway, we'll explain it later. We'll explain why we're saying this later.
Exactly.
But shall we go back and listen to what we were saying in the past?
Go back to the past.
Flashback.
Second play from West End in the row.
Oh, that's
2
nice.
in a row. We're nuts. We about to watch My Master Builder. What do we see?
Well, first, this is a new play based on an Ibsen.
Yeah, we love that. We just see like a lot of polycarb structures. Looks like
White.
those steel, when they put the steel poles when they are building new,
Scaffolding.
not a scaffolding, I don't know.
Okay.
You know when you put, so then you can build a construction on top of it.
Like when you make a foundation.
Yeah.
The poles you put in,
Yeah.
and then you pour the concrete,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah. It's it has an interval. 15-minute interval. I forgot what they said the time.
2 hours 20.
2:20. Oh man.
So an hour and an hour. Probably an hour 20 and 40.
I really struggle with straight plays that are that long. I'm not gonna lie.
She's not a fan.
I'm not a fan of straight plays that are that long.
Well, maybe it's going to be a bit queer. You never know. Hopefully it will. I mean,
There's even standing room. That's how popular this ticket was.
yeah, because it has Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
Start casting that's why.
How can you even see? How can you be breathing on someone else's back? Like,
I know. That's
awkward.
That's super awkward. But hey, I mean, we have a little corner sofa situations,
yeah.
which is hilarious.
I'll take a picture and then and we'll put it in the show notes.
in the show notes.
Should we have show notes now? Maybe we
We
should.
always have show notes, bro.
Yeah, that is what this whole thing is, show notes. Is it not?
I'm gonna meet you on your side because the ladies are on your side, I think.
Okay.
So see you in the interval.
See you in the interval. Bye.
Bye.
Well, that was us speaking about a bunch of nothing and me trying to remember how the poles are called.
Yeah.
Literally reinforcing poles.
Yes.
How exciting.
And they were all white.
Who?
The
Poles?
poles.
Oh, yes, they were.
With like some other like type of like plastic.
Yeah, like polycarb,
Yeah,
plastic,
something.
something.
Well, anyway, we came into this blind. All we knew was that, first of all, Ewan McGregor's in it, and that it was based off My Master Builder by Henrik Ibsen.
Yeah.
So we were
Loosely. Apparently. So what does the
website
say?
Well, of course, we're gonna start this in all caps, big bold letters. Ewan McGregor returns to the London stage for the first time in 17 years to star in My Master Builder. That's actually a really long time not to be in a play.
Time. Yeah.
In a West End play. That's a long time.
Not even that old, isn't he? Like 50 or something.
Yeah, that's a long time.
So
well, you know, TV and film play more, so I get it.
Yeah, fair play.
I get it.
Fair play.
It's Ewan McGregor is joined by Elizabeth Debicki, Kate Fleetwood, David Ajala, and Miran Mack in My Master Builder, a new play by American playwright and screenwriter Lila Raychek. We'll get to this later. Anyway, it continues to go on. On the eve of the 4th of July in the Hamptons, Elena Solness, a publishing magnate, is preparing to throw a party to celebrate her architect husband, Henry Solness, as he unveils his latest masterpiece. Their already vulnerable union is shattered by the unexpected arrival by Matilda, a former student of Henry's, with whom he previously shared an intimate connection. As the evening unfolds, each finds themselves face to face with the reckoning that indelibly tilts the axis of their lives. Inspired by Ibsen, My Master Builder is a startling new play that lays bare the vulnerabilities we expose when we leave ourselves open to love.
Really?
First of all, unexpected arrival of Matilda. That wasn't unexpected. It was unexpected on Henry's part.
I guess so.
On Henry's part. He's the only one that was unexpected.
Yeah,
the rest of them knew he was coming. She was coming. Anyway.
Anywho. Quickly what happens in the play. So we open Act 1. We open with Henry in this dreamlike state making a speech. And like the paparazzis are flashing away.
Yeah. And he's getting a little disoriented by all the flashing, lots of strobe in that moment and stuff happening.
Yeah. And then basically he's making a speech, kind of that unveiling speech that we're gonna see later. And then we transition into the house.
Yes.
In Hamptons.
Yes, in the Hamptons, upstate New York, where all the really, really rich people go.
Mm-hmm. And basically we meet Eleanor, his wife, and her assistant Kaya, and they're setting up for a dinner party, basically trying to decide who's gonna sit where, who's gonna chat to whom, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, because they're celebrating the unveiling of the
Whalers Church, which Henry was the architect on.
Reconstruction led I think it was like
reconstruction of it after a fire. Yeah. So basically, they're gonna have a party. There's gonna have a party first, and then they're gonna have a dinner after the little unveiling. Yeah. Is what the plan is.
Doesn't make no sense. Who does that?
So they're gonna have a party with a bigger group at the Whalers Church, and then go to dinner afterwards at the house.
Yeah. Fair.
So we're seeing Elena, who's like a boss bitch. She's a publishing magnate and ordering her assistant around to do things, So we also learned that Elena has just asked her lawyer to draw up divorce papers from Henry.
And it's ready. Kaya, her assistant, basically tells her. He doesn't know about it.
And Kaya is confused as to why they're divorcing. I don't think she really knows for sure. Yeah. But she kind of feels bad because this is blindsiding Henry, because Henry has no idea that Elena decided to drop these papers.
Yeah, and then he comes in after the swim.
Yeah, Henry comes in.
And he's not really like super ecstatic about the party.
No.
He's like, oh, okay, whatever. Who are the wankers that are gonna come?
Yeah.
And she's like, well, Kaya's friend is coming. Your protege Ragnar is coming. It's basically this guy that we learn that is besting Henry in every single way.
Yeah, he's once his protege, but is now his competitor when it comes to really
the student becomes the master. Also, he arrives, I think, earlier, so he calls Kaya because she leaves.
Yes.
And then basically when she leaves, we really see like the relationship between Eleanor and Henry kind of change the mask.
Yes.
And we kind of see that there is a lot of tension in between.
Lots of tension. And we learn that Henry is sleeping in the pool house. And Elena is like, I don't know why you're sleeping in the moldy pool house when there's a perfectly good downstairs bedroom for you to use. Because obviously they're sleeping separately. And Henry says he refuses to sleep in that room because he can feel him and doesn't want to stay in that room. The room turns out to be the bedroom, the former bedroom, refurbished bedroom of their dead son. And that's why he doesn't want to stay in there.
I know. Unexpected guest, a dead kid.
Yes.
Has it all. Wow, okay, relax. Then basically Kaya comes back with Ragnar. He's like this flamboyant, bright man. Very handsome, very fit, tall, everything that Henry is not. You know? And
charismatic, all those things.
Yeah, very magnetic. Just like, just randomly saying about his crazy week because he was just jet setting, He
was just in Nigeria and then was in Norway. And just, in the last 2 days, just living his life. It's so difficult.
Yeah, he's very successful and
crazy.
Henry loves to hear that. They literally don't really interact at all.
This is the first and last time they actually directly speak to one another.
And it's still kind of, I guess directed more to the ladies that are...
Yes.
Both obsessed.
Yes.
Obviously.
I mean, we kind of see also in this interaction with Elena and Ragnar that Elena is into him, that she likes him.
Yeah.
And when Henry and Elena like leave to go get some wine or something.
Yeah, because I think Henry leaves and then Elena leaves as well.
For some reason. Yeah. Anyway, we learned that Kaya and Ragnar are having a little thing going on. And Kaya knows that if Elena finds out, she's going to be in big trouble because she tells Ragnar that Elena likes you a lot. She's obsessed with you. Yeah. And Ragnar's like, oh, that's not true. And Kaya's like, yeah, it is true. And so you need to watch it.
I only have eyes for you, which is obviously a lie.
Because the man's married, so with 2 kids.
And he's like traveling all over the place and he has no trouble finding women.
Hoes in different area codes. Like, seriously, that's what's going on right now.
Yeah, but Kaya's kind of like... And she knows it, but she's like, let's pretend.
It's a fun little fling, you know?
Hey, he is hot. Then
Elena and Henry are back from whatever they were doing. Mm-hmm. And so the doorbell rings and Matilda's here.
Yeah, Kaya's friend.
The journalist who writes about architecture.
And we have this freeze in the scene. The 2 specials descend on Henry and Matilda.
Because at first they asked like they don't know each other, but then it's clear that they do.
But it's like, excuse me, we have the full lighting cue telling us otherwise. You're not fooling us. Then Elena suggests a little dip in the ocean.
Yeah. Just
before the dinner.
And she kind of tells Matilda, hey, how would you come with us for a dip? How about all of you come? Well, except for Henry, because Henry already went for a dip. And Matilda's like, no, it's okay. I don't have a swimsuit or anything. And she just doesn't really want to go.
Yeah, she's like, skinny dip, girl. Yeah.
So the 3 of them, Kaya, Ragnar, and Elena, leave to go change into their swimming costumes. Mm-hmm. And then we kind of see that we get more detail into the relationship between Henry and Matilda.
Yeah. She kind of reminds him of her...
Of their relationship in general.
Their relationship.
Yeah, because he's just like... trying to remember and stuff, and then he's like, oh yes, I remember. Yeah. And then
cool. Yeah, so it turns out she was his research assistant 10 years ago.
Yes,
when he was a professor, and then the gang leave for their swim.
Yes. And so Elena is also like, oh, so why don't you just take this time to interview Henry, since you need to interview him to write an article.
Oh, yeah, that was a thing as well. Yeah, we forgot to mention. Apparently she's coming because she's like writing an article about him.
And Whalers Church and whatever. Yeah. And so the 3 of them leave. And so, you know, the 2 of them, Henry and Matilda, are like getting a little closer, getting a little comfortable with each other. Getting real touchy-feely with each other very quickly.
Matilda, was basically like, we used to be a thing. Yeah. Do you remember that evening? So he gave her head or something. I just realized, sorry, it's unrelated, but she never interviewed him.
No.
That poor
Because
girl.
I think really she was there because she said that he told her to come back in 10 years.
Yeah. So she reminds him basically that you told me to come back in 10 years. And he's like, say, what? But regardless, it gets a bit sexy.
Yeah.
But then everyone comes back from the swim, so, like, kills the mood.
Yeah. Well, they come back in for their swim, and then Kaya, Ragnar, and Henry leave for some reason.
Yeah,
and then Matilda and Elena are left alone. Mm-hmm. And so they finally drop their pretenses, and Elena's like, you know who I am, I know who you are, let's stop faking it.
I invited you.
And Elena says, I invited you here because I wanted to apologize, essentially, and rectify the things that she had done to her in the past. And we learned that Elena basically ruined Matilda's life
after she found
out about her and Henry. Mm-hmm. And she made phone calls and emails to different universities and stuff to basically besmirch Matilda's name, who, by the way, went by Hilda before, so she had to change her name.
Yeah. Because how successful Elena was in her pursuit of
and she just went on a rampage to destroy her life. And Elena is now trying to apologize for that by giving Matilda the tools to be able to publish her book.
Well, she's trying to apologize by essentially blackmailing her.
Yeah. Essentially.
She basically said, because we learn so many things. So that Matilda is about to publish, is trying to sell her first novel.
Yes.
That depicts loosely, or how loosely, that relationship that they had. So Elena is basically saying, listen, I'm so sorry that I ruined your life. But if you're not gonna take my apology, I'm gonna ruin your life again.
Yeah, essentially.
She was basically being like, listen, I'm
trying to help you.
I have so many connections. I know you have trouble, like, selling your book, but if I say it's good.
And she admits that she does think the book is good. Yeah. She thinks it's great and she couldn't put it down.
Yeah.
But you need to do what I say, and you need to expose Henry as the person who you're depicting in the book, and that he took advantage of you as a student. And women have been in this position many times before, and it's your turn to take your power back and tear him down.
Yeah. And I'm going to make this happen. And if you refuse, I'm going to bury you. Yeah. Again. Forgive me? No? Oh, how weird. So that's kind of a big cliffhanger.
Yeah, that's the end of it. End of Act 1.
Yeah. You mentioned that yesterday that Henry comes in and sames something.
I can't remember what he says, though.
By the way, we struggled.
It took us a long time. We had to write it out, everything, and we couldn't remember.
Up to 48 hours.
Seriously. Yeah. That just tells you all you need to know. Anyway, let's go back and listen to ourselves in the past after Act 1.
Ooh.
Safety curtain. Oh my goodness, it's a beautiful safety curtain.
With an angel on it, blowing a horn.
Very delicious safety curtain. So, interval thoughts?
It was a bit expositional at a lot of parts, but
yes,
it kept getting better.
Yeah. I think I find his and Glinda's or Matilda's, whatever.
That whole thing was
super expositional.
Yes, they were just explaining. Remember when, as you know, Bob?
I think it would have been, so much more interesting if they just had like an awkward combo and then it's revealed with a wife,
Yes.
So, because we could see, there's already enough with like
we already had that little light change when she's like, they looked at each other for the first time in 10 years. Yeah.
So that was kind of like big enough, and then have this very awkward. Could have been stronger, I think.
That bit could have been done differently, but it kept getting better, especially this last scene between Matilda and the wife, where it was just like, ooh, this is interesting. And you know what? I'm getting excited because now you're thinking, whose side am I on?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Because now I'm thinking, okay, well, was Matilda in the wrong for doing that when she knew he was married and grieving? But she was only 20, so her frontal lobe wasn't fully developed, and she's the student and he's the teacher, and he shouldn't even given her a hint that he was interested at all.
Exactly, and he's like a strong, powerful, brilliant man, and you know, the protege.
Yes. And then is Eleanor wrong because she destroyed her life? And is Eleanor wrong for basically kind of forcing her hand?
Yeah.
Trying to force her hand to expose her husband to get revenge?
Yeah.
Like who's wrong? I don't know.
Everyone's
kind of wrong, but also everyone's also kind of right.
Yeah, obviously I'm team Eleanor. Because she's such a legend. No, but that's interesting though. But it always happens, isn't it? Like in these situations, usually, women are pitted against one another.
Exactly. And not the main cause of it is never the one who is punished.
Never the one who's addressed. So hopefully, I feel like this might be different. Like, it's very interesting because bits with Glinda, to be fair, bits with everything that's actually involving him, a bit expositional.
Yes.
But when the whole group are together, I really like that writing. It's very seamless, very realistic.
We're getting some subtext, we're getting some let's read between the lines. Let's read the body language. Let's read how they're saying certain things to each other, how they're interacting with each person is interacting with, and like the relationships between each person. And,
exactly. But I feel like
how everyone is not telling the truth and are holding things back.
Yeah. But I feel like it's clear enough we could have done it without As You Know Bob, for sure.
Yeah, because that was a big old As You Know Bob moment.
That was like
huge.
Do you remember? Like, let me tell you all of it. Do you remember the time when we...
There didn't even have to be that much talking.
No.
There could have been a lot of more physical, less swerve, and then just use subtext.
And also just to be
I
would have written or done that scene like that they left alone. It's so fucking awkward. In the beginning, trying to be like, just do you like this?
I haven't seen you in a long time.
A lovely
it kind
house.
Of started that way. When they were describing the incident in the office, was a bit. And it was mostly from her end.
Yeah, and
she was the one explaining everything. You remember when? I remember when you did this to me.
I don't know how believable that she's still, because she's still trying to come onto him. I'm like, after 10 years,
your frontal lobe has developed.
Are you okay? Like, if you still, because she was trying to come onto him in these little interactions.
And he said that come back to me in 10 years.
Yeah. And she waited? I'm sorry, this is the... Girl, are you okay?
And he didn't even remember, but that's how it usually works, doesn't it? That's usually how it works.
I was like, that's fair enough. But girl, are you okay?
They just be saying stuff and then don't even remember what they said.
Exactly.
And it's so impactful to her that she remembers it and holds it in her heart.
Exactly.
But yet,
Why is everyone on my back? Like, why are people standing where my seat is?
Yeah, the seats for this is interesting. I have to change my position because my neck was starting to hurt. But anyway, it's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds. I wonder what happens next because I'm not familiar with this Ibsen piece, so I'm excited for the second part.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
I feel like the expositional bits probably just other people are not gonna find any issue with it. I think it's just because we've spent literally months now trying to delete any expositional lines from our script.
Yeah.
And I was just like, ugh, exposition.
Yes. Which can be useful in some points, I think. But it could have been done differently. But besides that, I think it's fine. It's good.
I think it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what? See you after.
Yeah.
Bye.
I just feel very bad for Renata and Rasa, hopeful.
From 72 hours ago.
Who I died. They were like, this is great. I'm so excited. But here comes the second half.
Here comes the second half. Seriously.
Yeah, so we see the party in full swing. Henry makes a speech, kind of welcoming everyone. So they're outside the church. So I don't know who does parties like that. So basically, they're all partying outside by the church.
Yes.
And then they're planning to go to have dinner at some point.
Only a select few people are going to dinner.
But like...
It's weird. I don't know.
It's odd. And that party is like full-on party. Like, it's not like, a tiny reception with like a glass of champs.
No. And it's the 4th of July too as well. So everyone is out. And
so everyone's just going to be drinking. Who's going to eat?
Nobody.
Nobody eats. That's the thing. So basically he talks about this church, and basically he's dedicating it to his late son. So we kind of learn that, because in the previous expositional scenes we learned that when the kind of affair with Matilda was happening, it was literally like when they were grieving their son. So obviously it was like vulnerable times for them. And then meanwhile, like, Elena, she kind of wants to get the party started, I guess, and she's drunk and she's
just trying to give it a little bit more lively because she's sad.
Yeah.
And so she
had enough, I think, of Henry's speeches and, pretense and all that.
And Henry gets embarrassed by her because she breaks a glass.
She's popping ass.
She is dancing. She is taking a whole bottle of champagne and drinking out of it, you know, in front of all these guests. Her dress is very sexy.
Very hot. She's so hot.
You know, he's a little bit embarrassed.
Yeah, but then she's basically, she kind of orders more champagne, grabs a bottle, and then she kind of makes her own speech.
She proposes a toast, which is basically targeted at Henry, saying in an ironic way how, you know, she is basically the long-suffering wife of an architect whose work is his life, and how much passion he has for his work, and basically alluding to the fact that he has more passion for that and not for her, essentially. And so Henry gets upset by this whole behavior, and then he leaves the party.
Mm-hmm. He leaves the party.
And Elena's just still partying at the party.
And he runs into Hilda.
Who has also left the party. She was in... Hilda is her real name, but she... Yeah. But anyway, she also had left the party. She was there for a little bit and then left. She was there to see his speech and then left. And then she's just by her lonesome outside or whatever. And he runs into her.
Yeah, and then they fuck.
Yeah, and then they find themselves, because Henry's like really done with Elena. He's really finished with her, and so he finally lets his desires go.
And we don't know, was it now? Like, was it before this moment or after this moment? We couldn't remember. Weirdly, when does Henry find out about Elena filing for divorce? Because there's a moment in this play when Kaya basically tells him. Because
she didn't want him to be blindsided. So she's like, I know it's wrong. I probably shouldn't say this.
We have a feeling it was before they have sex.
I think so, it was. Because that was probably the breaking point for him to give him permission to have sex with Hilda.
But we can't
remember
when it happened.
Anyway, they have sex, and there's a scene where they're in the scene, they're in each other's embrace, and then Hilda takes off her panties and leaves them on the floor, and then they go off to the beach, I guess, to have sex. And then Elena's kind of been watching this interaction the whole time. You can kind of tell she's been watching it. So she comes in and she picks up the panties and then she leaves.
Yeah. And I was like, don't do anything weird, Elena. She didn't.
Well, yeah, I thought she... What we saw last night made me think, you know.
Hey.
Boundaries, people. Anyway, Henry and Hilda have returned from the beach in post-coital bliss.
Yeah.
And then Henry's like, we should run away. Yeah, we should abandon this place forever and go on an architecture
He's like, I totally
tour.
Remember you now. Totes. I remember it all. And, you know.
He says he's going to build her a house. And that they should have a baby.
Oh, yeah, that is
because he... ejaculates in her, and she's like, I didn't ask you to do that. You wanted to. And it's just awkward because she's kind of turned off by that when he says, we should have a baby. And then he says, oh, you know, it just came to mind because my son used to play on the beach where we had sex. And it's like,
just like, I mean,
he's just a weirdo, seriously.
He's a bit of a...
And then Hilda kind of pivots the conversation, is like, why didn't you contact me? Because she had asked him, after Elena destroyed her life, she had asked him, why didn't you ever contact me? I contacted you, and we were supposed to meet at our park, but you never showed up. I was waiting for you, but you never came. And he kind of never answers the question as to why.
He's like, well, I just came just now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's literally like, yeah, girl, whatever.
Like, he did not value this relationship as much as she did. And again...
He probably had numerous ladies at the same time. You never know.
Even though he says he didn't. Yeah. Who knows if that's the truth or not.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, nothing really happened except for that one time when he gave her head in the office.
Yeah, that was the only time,
Yeah, but I feel like maybe she romanticized the whole interaction too much.
Well, obviously she romanticizes this whole thing. And all of Act 2 is really her kind of coming to terms that this relationship is not what she thought she was returning to.
Yes. But also,
well, anyway.
Question mark?
Yeah.
Because... yeah, and then what's happening?
We're back at the house. Elena is by herself drinking. And Ragnar comes in trying to be a listening ear.
Drinking
and trying
by
to be
the dinner table that still nobody has used.
Yes, because everyone's still at the party. Makes no sense.
Even though, excuse me, I'm sorry, that's another interjection. When Henry and Hilda were having sex, they were like, oh, well, something, let's go. But she was like, oh, but the party hasn't even finished yet. So, like, it seemed like it's 4 a.m. or something.
Yeah, because why is it dark? First of all, because it's July.
Yeah.
It's still going to be light time.
Nobody has eaten.
Who's having dinner at 10:30, 11 o'clock?
There were not even canapes.
And on the 4th of July, those fireworks don't start till like 9:30, 10 o'clock anyway. Because that's when it's finally dark enough.
So it was literally like... it's crazy.
Anyway, it makes no sense.
Yeah, so Elena is sitting by this table that nobody still used.
It's set for dinner, but no one's there.
Nobody had dinner. Anyway.
And she's just drinking some whiskey, drinking. And Ragnar comes in trying to be a good friend or whatever. And then she kisses him.
Yeah.
In desperation.
Ragnar's like, ooh, no.
Ragnar's like, no. That. And then there was this weird moment because Kaia comes in.
Oh, yeah.
With Ragnar's jacket, and then somehow Elena figures out that those two have been in a little relationship,
but like without nothing.
It was weird.
Going off on her.
That may have been a first preview mistake or something because it was really weird.
Maybe, yeah, because it was literally like, so they had the little moment, and Kaia kind of comes in
with Ragnar's jacket.
Yeah, but then Elena immediately like, pops
you
off.
Bitch, you are a whore. Why are you sleeping with him? It's not whatever.
Like,
you are a betrayer. You betrayed me. It was strange. It was really out of left field. Anyway, Hilda comes in as well because Henry and her have separated, and
the geographics and timings of this play is so
strange.
Confusing. It doesn't make sense.
Elena basically is unloading everything onto Hilda.
Yeah,
basically saying, "Don't become another victim of Henry. I'm a victim of him. Save yourself." Take this opportunity I'm giving you. Don't become a casualty in this. And Henry comes in and is mad, of course, that Elena is talking to Hilda in the first place. And Elena is like, Hilda, did he ever tell you how our son died? And so then we would learn that Henry wasn't paying attention, and their son,
they were on the building
off.
Side, basically.
Well, he wasn't. He was at the home. They were at the house. Because the building site is walking distance from the house.
I thought he wanted to come to work with him.
He did. Because Elena was doing a business trip or something in the city or whatever. And so the two of them came up to the house. Henry was doing something at the house. And the kid slipped away and walked to the church by himself.
I thought they were in the building site.
No. Okay. And by the way, the Whalers Church was already under construction to get rebuilt, because it was dilapidated. So Henry was supposed to fix it or whatever, come up with a new architecture plan. So anyway, the kid goes to the church by himself, and somehow or another, because it's a condemned building, it catches on fire and he dies inside.
Yeah.
And so it's clear Elena kind of basically does blame Henry for this in a way. And Hilda is uncomfortable by this revelation, and so she leaves.
Yeah, people just
leave. And then Henry and
reason.
Elena are by themselves. And so we learned that Elena had many affairs after this, because it was her way of coping with it. And Henry said he didn't say anything. He didn't say anything about her affairs because he wanted to absolve himself for being the cause of their son's death. And by letting her do whatever she wanted. And Elena's like, I only did it because I wanted your attention and I wanted your love, and you didn't seem to care about me, so I wanted you to say something. I wanted you to fight for me and fight for us. I still love you. I want to make this work. Please don't leave me. Please don't leave me. Yeah. Basically begging him to stay, and Henry's like, no, I'm done. I'm finished. It's done. It's over. I'm going to Hilda. Hilda gives me life. I love her, or whatever. And Elena, of course, is distraught over this.
No,
like, Henry, please.
Her 10 minutes ago.
Literally, like earlier that day, because this is all in the same day, by the way.
Literally. Nobody still had dinner, so it probably in 1 hour, as far as we know.
Yeah, it could have been only in 1 hour, you're right. It could have been like 5 o'clock to 10 o'clock. Yeah, it could have been 5 hours situation. Anyway.
Time is a construct.
It really is a time stretch. Anyway, we're back at the party. Henry finds Hilda and is like, it's over.
But we're outside now. Yeah.
Yeah, we're outside at the party. It's still happening. And Henry tells Hilda, we can be together now. I'm leaving her. It's dead. That relationship is dead. Let's be together. Let's run away. Yada, yada, yada. And Hilda's like very not super excited about this news and stuff. But
also doesn't really protest.
Yeah, at all. She's just frozen. She just kind of just... Okay, then. It's like she's come to the realization that this is not going to work, but also she wants it to work, but she doesn't really...
Has no agency.
Exactly.
Has no agency.
None.
Zero energy. And so... Then something happens and we don't know why.
And deliriously happy, Henry goes up to the steeple. So we know that Henry suffers from vertigo, and being in high heights triggers the vertigo.
Yeah.
And so for some reason, he decides to climb up the steeple of the church.
All the way up.
All the way to the top. Because he's gone halfway up. We've seen him gone halfway up twice now.
Which is like fair.
But then he goes all the way to the top for some reason. And so the fireworks start because it's the 4th of July.
Yeah.
He gets disoriented, the vertigo is triggered, and he falls to his death.
Flop. Yeah. And then Elena is cradling his
dying body.
No.
Yeah,
no. And then Hilda steps forwards and Henry just kind of reaches
and says, "My Hilda. My Hilda." And then blackout, end of play. Shall we listen to our immediate post-show thoughts?
Yes, we shall. You
guys can kind of see what we think about it based on that, based on how we're responding.
Okay, after-show thoughts.
Again, all the interactions between Henry and Hilda are all very expositional.
What a lukewarm second half.
Yes, yeah.
It had so much potential.
It did. It just didn't reach the height that I wanted it to. Pun intended.
It was the laziest. And obviously, at the end, women are all just like, oh yeah, forget.
They just want validation from a man.
Exactly, at the end.
She still wanted her husband back.
All of them.
That's why she did all that stuff, because she wanted him back.
Wow.
So she didn't believe a single word she was telling to Hilda. She didn't believe a single word that she told her assistant. She didn't believe a single word she was saying to anyone. Because deep down inside, she just wanted her husband back.
Because you can't
she wanted him back.
Because you can't be a successful and, self-fulfilled woman if you don't have a man. The end.
And you won't be fulfilled if you don't have one either.
And what they're gonna do now because he died? Oh no.
Yeah. And yet he still called for the other woman. And she was...
which just doesn't make no fucking sense because he completely forgotten about her.
I feel like he stayed the same the entire play. He didn't evolve or change, really. Like,
he didn't need to.
I didn't know what was the flip switch for him to...
Felt like they chose the least interesting way of finishing the story. It's just so tiresome. It would have been so interesting if actually, they take charge and then he's left being, this kind of loser.
They both leave him alone.
No, but they both like, oh my god, he loves me. No, he loves me.
Like if she was like the wife, Elena, not Eleanor, it was Elena.
Yeah.
If she was like, I'll let you go, I'll set you free, and then Hilda rejects him.
Yeah, exactly.
That would have been a stronger thing. Because then he would have to come to the...
If those women actually, when they talk...
Yeah.
If they actually, fuck, you're right. He groomed me. He used me.
Yeah.
He went behind your back at the moment when it was the worst moment for you. Because you lost your child. So instead of being with you, he came and fucked me. Yeah. What kind of man is this? And this is the man I was in love with, quotation marks?
Yeah.
And then that would have been interesting. But no.
I don't know, the whole like reason that she wanted to invite her friend, why Elena let the assistant invite her friend, why her friend even came in the first place. It's all weird and convoluted and makes no sense, and the stakes doesn't make it high enough.
No.
Like, what was she thinking she was going to get out of it?
That's the thing.
Like, what did she think by coming?
Yeah, make it make sense.
Happen?
To be like, maybe if she wants a divorce, and then she needs to prove that he's cheating, so then she gets all the money.
Exactly.
Then fair play. Then it makes sense. But that wasn't the case.
No. She wanted to take revenge by taking her husband's affair partner and kind of manipulating her to give her to publish her story and come out to say she was abused.
Yeah.
But she doesn't feel that way. Hilda doesn't feel that she was.
No. Yeah.
But, but at 30, are you, 10 years on? Don't you have enough time to reflect?
That's the thing. Is this written by a man? I'm sorry.
I don't think so. A lot of the times people spend so much time, I know I say this all the time, they spend a lot of time perfecting that first act that they rush the second act and don't put as much time as the end thought as they did. Because they just want to complete the circle.
Yeah.
But they complete it just a way just to tie it up.
But that's the thing. But it didn't. I feel like because as we talk, the setup was muddled, and I think, and we hope that it's gonna all make sense, in the second half.
Yeah.
Why this is so strange.
Yes.
But then it kind of became even more odd.
Yeah.
And the lesson is hey, listen, your value is just if you have a man or not. And I don't know if that's the correct lesson to be learning in 2025, but hey, interesting.
All right, well, that's what we thought.
That's it.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
On the Netflix.
I know.
You need to get that on the. You need to put this on the TV. This is good.
We were just talking how our moms are just so supportive. My mom doesn't even speak English, and she's like, "But guys, it's so good. You should approach the BBC."
Precious lambs.
Thanks,
Precious
Mom.
lambs. Thanks for your confidence in us. We appreciate it.
It's misplaced, unfortunately.
Yeah. Unfortunately, everybody and their mama submits stuff to the BBC, so
As misplaced as was the writing of this, the confidence of the playwright of this play.
Well, we'll talk about that as well.
Yeah, so those were our thoughts. Clearly,
Act 1 was promised something really interesting. It really set up something that we thought was gonna really explode at the end.
Mm-hmm. I think there was enough intrigue to kind of look past all the exposition stuff that was going. But that's a big credit, and again, we saw it on the first preview, but it's a big credit to actors, I think, and the director to make this material seem, I think, as promising as, we felt it was in the first half, because they did a very good job, I think, with what they had. So the big gag, because obviously I'm a self-proclaimed Philistine, but we didn't read the play.
We did not.
And then we looked at it, just, because it said loosely based.
Yes.
And, Inside Scoop, we actually wrote something that is loosely based on Henry Gibson.
We did.
So we were, hey, let's see how other people that do have plays on the West End do it, because obviously a very good learning curve, I guess.
Yes.
So, so the original play, it's called The Master Builder, because basically, even though he was very successful in building different buildings, but we never had any formal training, so he couldn't call himself an architect, and that's obviously already kind of tells what kind of man he is, and what kind of, always kind of has this inferiority complex and all that.
But in this, he's so successful, just reaching the tip tops of his career.
Yeah, he's just absolutely, the Hamptons, all that. He's just, superstar. Again, something that was very interesting about this character, we disregarded. We kind of mentioned, there's this protege who's much more successful than him, but we didn't really
We didn't talk about it ever again. We talked about it once, and then we let it go.
The biggest gag, though, the original Hilda in Ibsen's play, when they met up and had sexual interactions, she was 13. 13.
So they aged her up quite a bit, 7 years.
Yeah. So basically, something again so interesting to talk about, someone who's so successful, but then this massive, dark secret gets uncovered, and she and then it would kind of make maybe more sense why she waited 10 years. She's still young, she's still 23, she still doesn't know better. She's obviously traumatized, that's why she kind of tries to find him and
find answers.
Be with him.
Yeah.
Such an interesting topic as well to broach. Didn't do that. At the end, we don't remember why he he climbed the thingy in the original, Hilda was the one who encouraged him or made him climb all the way up, even though she knew that he was suffering.
Yeah.
So, and when he plummeted to his death, she literally went like, stepped to the front, whatever, she like moved her shawl around her, shoulder, and was like, my master builder. The end. So she literally orchestrated his death.
Yeah, that was her plan for reappearing 10 years later.
How fucking interesting. I mean, horrible, but like raw. How interesting of a play. And, women with actual agency. Someone who's like, yeah, I'm gonna revenge myself.
I was telling Rasa yesterday that I think people really think of the past as archaic, as not progressive as we are now, but in reality, we're not any smarter. We're not any braver. We're not any more interesting as people were in the past. No. We're definitely not any braver, actually, because I think
backwards.
We're going backwards, and I think if they were to go in that direction, like the original with the pedophilia angle, I think they would have been too scared to make a play that's just about pedophilia, and all the other things get overshadowed by the pedophilia, and I think that's probably why they changed it.
Yeah, but
because then people would think it's a pedophilia play, and then
I think it's the same with the years that they changed that scene, because having an elder woman and a young woman kissing on stage is too much. But that's my whole issue with theater. You could have done such a successful play with using the same structure or the same plot points, let's say, but you can modernize it. You can do whatever you want with Henrik Ibsen. That's why everyone's like now. It's Ibsen year.
It is Ibsen
everyone's
year.
Doing Ibsen left, right, and center.
Because a lot of things she wrote all the way in 19th century Norway are things we still deal with now. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, you don't have to change that much about it.
No.
Because a lot of the times the source material is enough.
Yeah.
Is enough.
But that's the thing. If you want to bring it to today, fair play. Fair play, I sometimes struggle with the kind of period pieces anyway. But the idea is because I think before, people would really write about, human condition and just big themes, kind of archetypical stuff. And now it's just Twitter feedy plays and trying to be relevant without
regurgitate things that we all agree with.
Yeah, and someone they heard, on
Nothing
TikTok or whatever,
that's challenging to talk about.
But that's what I think we need to talk about. And the whole, I think, topic of pedophilia is actually very under-researched. And some research that's coming up, now it's very fascinating. But I think because it is such a horrific
and taboo situation
topic when it happens, when it actually, becomes a crime, it's so horrible. We just try to not to talk about it. But I think we do need to, especially if we want to.
Yeah, there's a play, because my dramaturgy program, of course, they gave us a list of plays they want us to read and see when they were running. Because my cohort was only the second cohort. The program had only been a year old. And so I can't remember the name of the play. But it touched on, specifically, CSAM, so child sexual abuse material. And there was a scene where someone was watching CSAM.
Yeah.
And they were watching it while a child was asleep in the same room. And so I think it was by Tim Crouch. I want to say it was by Tim Crouch.
Oh, damn. We need to look it up.
I have to remember what it was. But anyway, that play got taken off the list when I came on because apparently they were worried it was too distressing for people.
But that's what I'm saying. It's we just getting so sensitive about everything. It pisses me off. We don't really engage into, conversation
and
about
there's a way
topics.
to do it with care. There's a way to that dramaturgy of care. There's a way to do it with care and thought without harming people.
Exactly.
But people are so worried about getting sued, getting targeted online and all those things. But it's not even about that.
Who's gonna target someone who's stalking, broaching? Like, it's not like, pro pedophilia.
No. It's just that people are uncomfortable.
Like, that happened.
People are uncomfortable and don't want to talk about it at all.
And I think that's this is kind of the trend that we're seeing. We just theater became a cushy, comfortable situation. And
I think it's partially because of the financial aspect of it. People don't want to take risk on hard-hitting things.
Exactly.
So they produce things that are easy to digest and they know people will buy tickets to.
Yeah.
People go for an escape. They don't want to, learn. They want to feel good when they come out of it.
Which is fair, but there should be different offerings for different kind of needs.
There's enough market for all of it,
But unfortunately, that's the thing. And I think for me, it's what's the most upsetting thing is that a man in the 19th century managed to write a woman, with agency. And then a woman playwright in the 21st century decided to completely remove that. And based on his play, kind of remove all the agency from women and just make them to be
men crazy
bitches.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
and it's under the guise of feminism. It's under the guise of girl boss. It's under the guise of Me Too. That's what they're trying to do. The Me Too movement. That's what they were trying to do. But it was all surface level and it was all...
but also these are words. The actions of characters said completely different things. So it's you can say whatever. Yeah, it's so empowering. But then it's you're literally begging your cheating husband who you think also killed your baby
who ignored you when you had 2 miscarriages.
Yeah. And then you beg him not to
on
leave
your
you
hands and knees. Beg him hard. She begged him hard to come back.
I know. And then the other one is this man clearly doesn't even remember you. He didn't value any of your relationship that you created in your head. And yet you're still oh yeah, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go away with you. Because clearly you don't respect me, but now you came inside me, so I guess fine.
Better get some plan B immediately, damn.
Oh no, she's
seriously.
gonna become a trad wife, hopefully, and whatever is that it's. So it's just very sad. I think that it was a lost opportunity to actually
we're not more interesting than the people were in the past. We're not more clever.
No.
Because, we're just not. So...
We're just not.
We think of ourselves smarter than they were, but we're not.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And I think, again, I haven't read the original. But from what I can gather, it was tackling very, universal feelings, that everyone can relate to. And that's why this play is still relevant and going to be relevant. Whatever we watched in this new version of Master Builder...
It's not going to get a second life after this.
It's not.
And it's always harder to get a second run. Harder than your first. But there's nothing in this that's going to be staying in the canon that's interesting that people are going to look back to and refer to when they talk about plays of this time period. And we talk about this episodes and episodes ago. Where are going to be the classics?
Yeah.
What are the classics that we are writing today? What are we going to reach back? How we reach back to Ibsen? How we reach back to Beckett? How we reach back to August Wilson and all these other people?
Yeah.
There's nothing here that is going to stand the test of time.
No, because everyone's just trying to be super clever and relevant to literally
to
5
immediacy.
Minutes ago. Yeah.
No, you don't have to be relevant.
I've seen this reel.
Exactly.
It's when you have a TikTok and then your friends who refuse to have TikTok just on Reels and send you Instagram Reels, and I'm thank you. I've seen this 3 months ago.
That's my mom. She sends me stuff after I saw it last month.
Yeah. And it's well, see, it's not relevant anymore because we moved on.
And we move faster now than we ever have before because of social media and the internet. Yeah. So it's better to think about humans as our broad selves, as ourselves overall, not in this time period specifically, because really we've been through the similar things before. So there are certain values and certain instances that that's already happened.
It all boils down to few simple emotions. It's all about love, jealousy, anger, fear, basic emotions. Basic
and hunger.
Emotions, hunger. It's literally that. And if your work doesn't tackle these basic emotions in any way, it's not going to stay. It's not going to be relevant. It's not. And the thing is, it's like, that's why I don't have problem at all with like people taking Ibsen and making new adaptations of it. Because granted, like, obviously it's a translation and it's kind of, the language is not relevant anymore. The language is difficult to maybe get...
At our old job, they had to translate the play from Old Norwegian to New Norwegian.
Yeah.
And then to New Norwegian to English for the subtitles.
Yeah.
I mean, it's multiple...
so I understand the language, but you can still... if this playwright, obviously she felt connected to this piece, because otherwise why are you making this?
Yeah, she said her inspiration was when a couple invited her up to the Hamptons for a weekend. That's how she got the idea.
True. Yeah, that's another thing. So we went on because we struggled to remember this play. And we were like, it's like fast preview. Obviously there will be no reviews, no nothing. But we was like, let me just do a deep dive. And we found like a Reddit thread. Is that how they call them?
Of people who had seen the play.
Yeah. So there was one viewer that was like, "This is what you get when you let a nepo baby
when you let a socialite." He said specifically,
socialite. Do your thing. And so I went on deep dive on this playwright, and guys, I'm obsessed. On her website, there's instead of a headshot, is this very striking editorial
full body photo.
Yeah, editorial video of her just throwing
in a blazer dress.
Yeah, throwing play around. So the pieces of plays or script just
the script pages are floating.
I'm obsessed. And hey, it's her debut play. It's on the West End with one of the with massive actors. Well done. I don't know, hey, must be nice. Not saying anything, but anyway, so she's an icon. I don't know, for one reason or another, please go have a look. It's iconic, honestly.
It really is.
Iconic. I'm like, wow. I need to update my headshots immediately. I want things flying around. It's a shame that she was clearly connected to this play, but she took everything that was interesting about this play and disregarded it.
Yeah. To make it more interesting, but it's not.
To make it less interesting.
Yes.
Because that's what we need. Less interesting.
Exactly.
This is way too interesting. Let's change it.
Yeah.
The whole timing was weird. It was jumping about.
Again, it could have been some directing missteps because it was first preview, so some of those errors were that, but it was the text. The text was the issue.
No, because the directing, I think, and the acting really saved whatever it is. And also, I'm kind of sad for Ewan McGregor, because it's his first time back in 17 years, yeah? And damn, his character had no arc. He was just this kind of wet...
Very successful guy who, he suffered the death of a child. But besides that, everything's all cool.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't change. I mean, obviously he died. That's a big change, I guess. But, classic. He didn't have any layers.
No.
He was very... It's a shame, It's a shame.
Yeah.
And I think other characters did the most that they could with the text that they were, given. And created their own layers, in their own performance.
Yeah.
Which I think Ewan kind of failed to do, which is sad. But then again, first preview. Could be nerves.
Well, I guarantee this will probably get 4 stars. And, that's what's going to happen.
Damn interesting.
It's going to get good reviews from the press. Most likely.
Damn.
Most likely.
Maybe.
I mean, we've been seeing this trend of no one telling the truth.
Yeah, especially when it comes to star casting.
Exactly. Or they're so-and-so is amazing, and some so-and-so gave a thrilling performance and stuff.
Yeah, it's probably.
And maybe they'll do a little hint there could have been more of this, and this to make it more clear, but the masterful something. Yeah. That's usually how they phrase it.
And that's why we created this podcast.
To be haters. Because we're haters.
Because listen, we need to tell people how it is. Say it to their face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And hey, if you want to hate with us, welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome.
And we're here to vindicate your feelings because you're not crazy. You're not insane. Your opinions matter.
I mean, hey, we all can be insane. So that's a bit like awkward. But hey, we can all be insane together. Listen.
Yes.
Come on.
So you're not in the Twilight Zone.
No.
Because we know you're out there and that you agree with us. So.
But we're not about agreeing. Hey, please disagree. Please tell us to our face. Oh my god, there should be a We're Just Haters, the We're Just Haters Theater Podcast Haters podcast.
Exception. We're Just Haterception.
Yeah, we're just hating on everything that we are saying. Listen, if that happens, we know we made it.
Yeah.
Maybe one day, maybe after those BBC people email us back. Thanks, Mom. See you on the next one.
See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.